Oleksandr Usyk left no doubts to anyone last night who the best heavyweight in the heavyweight division is, and arguably the best pound for pound fighter. Last night, he defeated Anthony Joshua in one of the best heavyweight fights that I have literally seen in years. It was surgical the way he performed for 12 rounds. And I did have Usyk dominating pretty much for the whole night, actually. I gave Joshua some of the middle rounds. It was very, very clear to me. I don't know about you. Feel free to let me know in the comment section. But it was very, very clear to me that in that 12th round, Anthony Joshua was getting ready to go down, literally. It was a situation to where if that wouldn't have been the last round and there would have been another minute left on the clock and we would have maybe had one more round, I definitely think Anthony Joshua would have got taken down by Usyk. Joshua was looking weary. He was looking just out of it. And, both fighters were drained at that point. But, Joshua was just looking like he didn't have anything left in the tank after that point. I clearly didn't see this going down like this last night. Going into the fight, I thought that Joshua would. I didn't really know actually too much about Usyk. I know he was definitely going into the fight very, very well talked about. And I know he wasn't a slouch. But I just figured that the bigger and, more seasoned heavyweight, which was Anthony Joshua at the moment before the fight, I thought that, Joshua going into the fight would definitely take care of Usyk within within 5 rounds maximum, but once as soon as the bell hit, the tone was set. Usyk being smaller than Joshua by roughly 4 inches, Usyk being 6'4", Joshua being about 6'8", if I'm correct. Usyk dominated. I mean, he showed his presence. He let his presence be known from the gate, from the very ring of the bell. And it was no question that he, being the smaller man, wasn't going to let Joshua, being bigger than him, dominate him in any way. He stood his ground. Usyk was dancing around the ring, showing, head movement and footwork, head and footwork the entire night. I mean, it was just a masterful performance. He was definitely showing speed. He was showing I was just amazed at Usyk's footwork and how he was dancing around the ring pretty much the majority of the fight. And it was to the point to where he was making Joshua look very, very robotic, like centering him and standing him in the middle of the ring while Usyk was pretty much just going around in circles around him for the earlier rounds for the most part, and for the most part the whole entire night. I thought AJ put on a good performance. He didn't get knocked out, which is always a good thing anytime a fighter doesn't get knocked out. But Usyk was definitely, like I said earlier, he was setting the tone. He was snapping Anthony Joshua. Him being a southpaw, which always makes for a difficult, person to fight against. He was literally snapping Joshua's head back, Anthony Joshua's head back about 3 or 4 times. I was sitting here watching the fight saying, my God, he's just popping his neck. I mean, he was definitely getting his jabs and getting those punches in. Anthony Joshua had me hyped up with his entrance performance with the Rocky IV theme song. There's no easy way out. The pyrotechnics, the fireworks and things of that nature, the Anthony Joshua, the AJ pyrotechnics. I thought that was very, very dope. It was one of the best introductions and intros I've seen in most recent memory in boxing, especially with the song There's No Easy Way Out. You got to come to the ring hyped up off of that. And you got to win the fight coming out to that song. That's like one of the all-time hype songs when it comes to working out or getting into a fight, getting ready for a boxing fight for these fighters. Rocky IV, There's No Easy Way Out. You figure him coming out to that song, he has to win this fight. But, hey, he had me hyped up. But, Joshua just couldn't seal the deal. He just couldn't get the job done. And that's one thing about boxing is that, you have to strike when the iron is hot. Joshua has had plenty of times over the last couple years to cement and prove his legacy as a heavyweight champion, holding all the belts that he has had except for the one belt, that currently Tyson Fury holds. He's had many opportunities to show us his dominance. couple years ago, like going back to like 3-4 years ago. He could have took on Deontay Wilder years ago, but for whatever reason, they was BSing and, playing around, and that fight should have happened years ago. There's no reason why that fight shouldn't have happened. There's no reason why the Tyson Fury fight shouldn't have happened, but Anthony Joshua lost to Ruiz. So, that delayed that fight with the rematch. And, he should have already had those two fights up under his belt over the last couple of years, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And I personally believe that's, looking back on, depending on if he wins this rematch, which will be definitely a difficult fight. This won't be an easy one because this first one wasn't an easy one, a cakewalk for him. A lot of people are saying that, it's not looking good for him winning the rematch. But I'm a full believer that he can recover from this. He can come back, but he's going to have to switch it up. He's just going to have to go into his bag and do some different things. But as I was saying, depending on how this rematch happens, who knows how his legacy could be cemented. He definitely won't be in title contention anytime soon if he loses this rematch. So you can maybe, in my personal opinion, look back on Anthony Joshua's title reign as being mediocre, considering that he didn't really fight any heavy besides Klitschko years ago when he won the title. He really didn't fight any heavyweights, that had any caliber of prominence to them. He didn't fight the Deontay Wilders when Wilder was in his prime a couple years ago. He didn't fight Tyson Fury. So, and a lot of that is out of his control, but a lot of it was in his control. So, I can't sit up here and say that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this rematch is going to shape the careers of Usyk moving forward and Anthony Joshua, and what fight will happen next. It's all in the cards after we see this Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury trilogy rematch coming up in a couple weeks. So, I'm definitely loving the heavyweight division right now, and I'm definitely saying that Oleksandr Usyk is, pound for pound, he is the best fighter right now in the game. Going from cruiserweight to just dominating this fight last night. I mean, there's nothing to say but kudos, and man, he's number one. It's AP. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will check y'all later. Peace, blessings, and one love.